validation from a bunch of blue-haired men hitting cows. It's pathetic.
Wow, that honestly, like, as weird as the conversation kind of went, that came out of left field. That came out of left. Here we go. So, as many of you guys know, I love watching The Majority Report. It's one of my favorite news shows. I don't watch a lot of news shows, but when I do, it's usually The Majority Report. I like them. I think they're decent. I don't think a lot of times the Ukraine commentary is 100% on point, but I think they're generally decent when it comes to their politics. I like them, and I like Sam. And recently, Sam Cedar was taking callers, as he does often. He takes callers on his shows on a lot of occasions. And one of the callers he had who called into the show recently was a men's rights activist who wanted to talk to Sam Cedar about the issue of abortion and about why he thinks that a man should have a say on whether or not a woman can get an abortion. So directly, like, why men should have control of women's bodies and women's reproductive health choices. So I wanted to watch this segment because I don't really engage with much of the red pill men's rights activism like side of the internet that often, and I think it might make sense for me to do this a little bit more often. So let's watch it.
Yeah.
Calling from a 310 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Is it me? Are you talking to me right now?
I am talking to you right now. What is your name? Where are you calling
goodness, this is amazing. Okay. First of all, first thing I want to express to you, Sam Cedar, is how grateful I am.
Hold on. First thing, before you even get to how grateful you are.
I'm sorry. I'm juggling. Hold on. Sorry, I was juggling headphones. There's a timing difference.
That's
anyway,
fantastic. What's your name, though? What's your name? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Patrick Chapman, Los Angeles, California, and I just want to say I'm super grateful to have this platform. As a working-class peasant and a liberal men's rights activist with no outlet of my own, I often find and a liberal
I'm muted. I will never recover from that. I'll never recover from the humiliation of the fact that I just talked for like a good 10 seconds and I was muted. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the shame. Yinny Young, thank you so much for the Prime and being sub for 8 months. If there's a place you want to go, I'm the one you need to know. Okay, thank you. You're a genius. You're a linguistic genius. That's why I like site chat. Anyway, look at Emma. Because Emma's like looking down at her phone right now. She's like doing whatever. She's maybe like trying to pull up the next segment. Look at her, how her eyes shoot up once you hear the words liberal men's rights activist. Look at her. Just look at her eyes. Nothing else.
Men's rights activist with no
What? Just immediate. I love it. I love it.
outlet of my own. I often find myself yelling into the void. So this is
stop. There it is. There it is. There's the little grin. The show has begun. The show has begun.
Such a nice change of pace. Thank you so much, Sam.
Okay, well, thank you for calling in. What's what's on your mind?
Oh, okay. That would be. I have a lot of Hispanic friends who have recently shifted towards the Trump end of the spectrum. And I know exactly why it's happening. It's so frustrating and it's so easy to avoid. And I just kind of wanted to talk about that. Well, actually, you know what? I wanted to talk about the parental revolution, Sam. I realize I should kind of practice brevity here. I know I'm sort of rambling. So I'm gonna sum this up in a much more succinct.
Okay, so we're not talking about Mexicans and Hispanic people. We're talking about I thought we were going to talk about like Mexican voters and Hispanic voters moving to. Okay, we're talking about this. Got it.
Soundbite. Sam, I have a magic wand, and with this magic wand,
Danabo, can we book this guy? I don't even know what he's about to say or about to ask. I haven't watched this segment. I try not to pre-watch most of these debates. Can we book this guy? Can we book this guy? He's immediately convinced me that I need to listen to whatever he has to say, okay? If he has a magic wand, that's pretty impressive.
I hereby bippity boppity boo into existence.
Dude, Emma's dying. I'm sorry. Just look at. I'm sorry. I'm having. Oh my God. Just look at Emma. Just look at.
Sam, I have a magic wand. And with this magic wand, I hereby bippity boppity boo into existence 3 laws, also known as the parental revolution. On one condition, you, Sam Cedar, 10 years from now, can take my magic wand from me and undo any one, if not all 3, of the laws that make up the parental revolution.
She's dying, man.
Is that fair, or is there something unfair about that? Because I want to be fair to you.
He needs to describe what the laws are. We don't know what the law. You just like the parental revolution, right? Like I could say the housing revolution. Okay, what's revolution in what way? Like you gotta be a little bit more specific. Like if I just walked up to somebody and said, okay, if I had a magic button I could press and pass a bunch of laws, would you agree? Yes or no? What are the laws?
I'm not sure what I'm signing up for here, but let's just why don't you just continue and assume that I'll make a decision a little bit later. How's that?
No, fair enough. I just want to concede to you that I am.
It's true. Honestly, I thought the magic wand would have convinced him.
Doing poorly. I'm not organized enough. So anyway, law 1. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to walk this back a bit. I have voted Democrat my entire life for 2 reasons.
Dude, he's going all over the place. I'm sorry, man. This is the thing, and I have the same problem where I jump around and I can sometimes ramble because I have like heavy ADHD. Okay, I have heavy doses of it, heavy doses, and it is very difficult sometimes to stay on topic and not flounder around, especially when I'm nervous, which I would assume this guy he's probably a ball of nerves calling into a show like this in front of thousands of people for the first time.
The environment. But I'm sorry, I don't have a solution to any of those problems. Those are big, complicated problems.
The debt? Did you say?
Tax people more.
The debt?
Yeah, the debt. I know you guys don't really care about the debt because of modern monetary theory, but I am personally, I care about the debt.
Okay.
I know you guys.
So you voted for Democrats because you care about the debt.
And the environment, but those are complicated. There is an issue, however.
Okay, but wait a second. Let's stay focused. The 3 laws you want to pass. Let's just stay on your parental plan.
The parental revolution. Okay, the parental revolution. The parental revolution is sort of a catch-all phrase for the end of fatherlessness. Right now, there is an epidemic of fatherlessness. 40% of all children being born are born to fatherless households, and I have the solution, but I respect your intelligence enough to.
When we say fatherlessness, okay, 40% is a drastically high number, but when we say 40% is fatherlessness, what is included there? Like if 2 people are raised by their grandparents, is that included in that statistic? I would assume that it would be, which I think that a child raised by 2 grandparents would a lot of ways perform similarly. What about a child raised by 2 mothers? Does that include? I just want to know where that statistic comes from. Either way, I do agree that having more people looking out for a child is better, and that's why I do think that usually 2-parent households perform better on average than 1-parent households. I don't think it necessarily has to be a mom and a dad, but I think that having more than one stabilizing factor for a child, more than one person raising and guiding a child, it helps. It takes a village in part, but I also think that having more than one person directly involved in the day-to-day stuff and not the like, hey, I need you to watch your child over the weekend stuff that maybe your neighbors could fulfill is important. But I just want more specifics about the data.
I don't know if you have some counterpoints that I have not, taken into consideration.
All right, you don't have to qualify this. We just need to hear the points. There's a big wind up here.
I'm so sorry. All right. I want to end fatherlessness. To me, the solution to fatherlessness lies in reproductive rights. If I had a magic wand, there's a lot of things I would fix, but one of the things I would fix is I would grant equal reproductive rights to all the pronouns. I would put a cap on alimony and I would have paternity confirmation for every child born. Now, you may disagree with me.
I don't know how the alimony deals with fatherlessness. I mean, like alimony could be like a something to help men not get screwed by these grubby little women. Like I don't know exactly why. I'm being facetious here, but I don't know how that addresses. I think that's a separate issue. I think you just kind of like put it all together, but it's a separate issue.
Me on those things, but it would mean so much to me if you could just at least acknowledge that what I just said wasn't hate speech. That would be a great place to start. With any
dude, I'm sorry, man. Dude, I don't do call-in shows really often. I get invited to do them. I don't do them that often because while they can be funny and entertaining, like I almost at times feel embarrassed a lot of times for the other people who are calling, not because it's like bad for them. I try to be encouraging, but man, people can embarrass themselves easily. Like this guy has been doing a wind up for his question for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, right? And personally, it's been comedic gold since the start, right? And then after finally finishing the wind up, the first question he has, and I don't even know if he finished the wind up because he didn't say like, what does he mean by equalizing reproductive health care? Like, what does he mean by that? But he's getting close to the end. And the first question he asked Sam is, please say I'm not racist. Please say I'm not bigoted. Like if I had a wind up for a question about anything and my first follow-up question was, acknowledge I don't hate black people, that would scare me more than anything else. That's your first question, that you need to clarify that before we begin the conversation, is your lack of hatred of women.
Thing I just said about equal reproductive rights.
I'm not even sure I fully understand what you've said, but I can tell you this, that the merit of your proposals do not rely on my assessment of them as like hate speech or not hate speech or whatever. I mean, what you've said is vague enough that I think like I don't know that I could say that it's hate speech. I don't know that I could say it's not hate speech because I can't quite tell what you're saying. You want to cap alimony. You want to cap alimony. I can tell you in New York State, alimony is capped depending on what your income is. I don't know what the laws are in where you live. In terms of like paternity tests, forced paternity tests, I think, it seems a little bit despotic. I'm not quite sure why we would do those. I would need more explanation. And I'm not sure what the other one was, parental rights for
equal reproductive right. Let's just focus on one thing. This is totally my fault. I just want to concede that I've been all over the place. I'm going to focus my...
Oh, God, dude, that's brutal. But it is true. This is fault.
I'm going to focus now. I'm going to focus equal reproductive rights for all the pronouns. I believe the pronouns. In equal reproductive rights for all the pronouns.
What does that mean?
Okay. The right to choose, the right to say, I do not want to be a part of this pregnancy without going to jail for that decision. I want equal rights.
You don't want to be part. So in other words, if I understand what you're saying is someone gets pregnant by someone else's sperm and as it is now, the pregnant person has the right. Well, no, not anymore. But used to have.
Yes, they do. Oh, come on. Yes, they do. Just not in every state. Yes, they do.
Well, no. The definition of a right is that it is actually in every state. But certainly before the Dobbs decision, I think we can agree. And I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. Before the Dobbs decision, it was a right for women to choose. Now it is a privilege that is bequeathed them by specific states around the country. It's not a right, definitionally, by any definition of the word, if a state can encumber it in the way that they have under Dobbs. But for the sake of argument, let's just pretend this was a year ago when that right still existed. And you're suggesting that the person who supplies the sperm and presumably this is not a surrogate. It's not a surrogate situation. Has also the right to not end the pregnancy in the way that a woman did a year ago, or a person who could get pregnant did a year ago, but has the right to disassociate themselves from the child. Is that what you're proposing?
Thank you. And it's so embarrassing how off the top of your head you came up with a more succinct.
We don't need the.
No, I mean, I agree.
understand your humility, but we need to hear more.
It is a little bit embarrassing. Now, and you're asking me, what would I find problematic about that? I don't think it's in society's best interest in that instance. When you end a pregnancy,
I guess for me, the main problem I would have is if his issue is fatherlessness homes. His issue is fatherlessness. This problem is that fathers not in the homes with sons after they get women pregnant. Deadbeat dads is to put it bluntly, right? If the main issue is deadbeat dads, and that's his main issue, right? Not even addressing any of the rest of the morality of it. Why would he want to give those deadbeat dads that he says are the issue, is them not staying in the homes, you know, taking care of their kids, give them a get out of jail free card, or get out of child free card in this instance, where you can go around getting women pregnant and you have no obligation to take care of any of the children you bring into the world. You can go into a relationship, tell a woman you're going to be with her forever. You get married to her, say you're going to make a family. She gets pregnant. Next day, take off the ring, throw it in the river, take all your shit, dip. She's pregnant with your child. That's completely legal. You have no responsibility for the child. It feels like if your interest here is making sure the homes aren't fatherlessness, they're not going through fatherlessness, that there's stable homes, that parents are taking care of their children, giving them this out feels like this is going to be counterproductive towards the goal that he said he wants. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It is a choice that is made, and again, it is it's not a right anymore, but it is a choice that is made by the person who is pregnant, because not just that they don't want to they don't want to carry a pregnancy to term, and part of it is undoubtedly they don't want to have a child. Is it unfair that the person who provides the sperm and without, an arrangement like you would have with a surrogate thing, where we do have laws about that, is it unfair that they don't have the same sovereignty over their future that the pregnant person has, or the same degree? And I would say it is probably a little bit unfair, but this is not about fairness so much as it is about how do you achieve the most amount of autonomy for the most amount of people, and also balance that against society's needs. And so, the dynamic's not the same. You can't, you as a sperm provider do not have the ability to force someone to end their pregnancy.
Correct.
And but I'm
against dead.
How, now that we've invited him on, if we say no, he's just going to spam me constantly with Dylan invited me on, but then didn't let me. Now you've stuck me in it. You've stuck me in it. Just say no. No, he's barred me in.
The Yankee Tanky has barred in Dylan Burns, but he cannot handle being barred in. This is the WWE, the WrestleMania of political debates, and you will be crushed. Time to take out Dylan Burns. It's on.
I'm muted. I'm sorry. You wrecked me again. He's right. He's right. He's got me, man. He's got me barred in. I like his go get him attitude. He's like a newspaper boy, you know? Like he's working hard for that quarter and dime, you know? He's hustling, as they would say, on the basketball court, on the streets of America. He's hustling. I'm obviously very intimidated. He intimidated me into silence, and he's going to demolish me on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific on my channel. I am very interested to see how much of this is just going to be schizo posting and how much of this is going to be actually coherent. But it'll be something. I want to see what the comments say. Look forward to seeing that. Okay, enough of that. Where were we? Oh yes.
Debtors' prisons. You understand that men who don't pay up go to debtors' prisons, which to me feels like a pretty liberal principle to be against debtors' prisons.
Well, I think you're saying that fathers who are or that people who provide the sperm who are responsible for the child.
Don't support your choice.
What would be your solution? What would be your solution there in that instance?
That would be easy. Give men equal rights to choose and
to end the pregnancy.
I am arguing
to
that
end
no
to end the pregnancy.
Should have all the same reproductive rights they have right now. Women should have all the same rights, not more.
To end the pregnancy. To end the pregnancy.
Yes.
So,
but when exercising their reproductive privileges, they should have to consider other people's reproductive privileges, preferably rights. I know that's not the system. They should keep all their privileges, just extend them to everyone else.
Okay, so it feels like we're getting down to the main issue here, the main disagreement with Sam, which is that he believes that a man's considerations about a woman being pregnant should come into consideration on whether or not she gets an abortion or not. Now, on an individualistic, moralistic level, I do agree that if you become pregnant or if you produce a fetus with another person, that you guys should have a sit-down conversation and everybody's consideration should be taken into account. It should be a very adult conversation where you both talk about the rest of your lives and your ability to take care of a child, what you want with your lives. All of that, I think, should be taken into consideration. And I think that's fair to ask for from anyone. But it's another thing to say that the government should get involved and make it so that if the man says, no, you will have my child, you can create a lot of wacky scenarios where a man is now controlling another person's body. Because whether we like it or not, and I personally like this fact as a man, we don't have to carry the baby. Okay, we don't have to. It's not a part of our body for 9 months as an extension where you have to get certain types of health care and you need to change the way you act. There's a decent chance it's going to stop your work life, not only through the pregnancy, but possibly past that point, because you're going to have to take care of this child. There is a certain amount of intrusion on the woman's life that is just not happening with the men in this scenario. It's just not happening. It's not being produced in his body. And an abortion is a surgical procedure on the body of the woman who is pregnant. And taking that into consideration, that is talking about her bodily autonomy. And so while parental rights and people's right to be a part of this conversation and have an impact on what decision is made, that doesn't overwhelm a woman's bodily autonomy, which should also be respected. So it should be taken into consideration, but we should not have the state going into the bodies of women and telling them that that this man wants you to have the baby, therefore you're going to have the baby. We don't care what you wanted to do with your body for the next 9 months. We've made that decision for you, right? Like if he wants to talk about, oh, we care about decisions when it comes to the father and the father being able to make a decision about whether or not they want to be a part of the child's life, whether or not they want to get an abortion. What about the woman's choice on what she wants to do with her own body? And so that would be my main issue with this, is I believe in that bodily autonomy for women.
I think fatherlessness would disappear almost overnight.
Here is, I disagree with you, but
also the idea that fatherlessness would disappear overnight, I don't know about that. I think what he could buy by accident be giving more men like a get out of jail free card when it comes to having children.
Here is what I would suggest. If you really are concerned about this issue, I think that because there is obviously a societal interest in not having children live in poverty, although we don't terribly follow up on it too much in this country. And there is a societal interest for citizens not to be in poverty, but particularly children, right? I would advocate, if you want to achieve as much parity as possible, if this is really a goal, what I would do is advocate for things like paid parental leave, paid, that we have universal UPK and childcare, that we have parity in the workplace for men and women in terms of what they get paid and options for that, that we have health insurance guaranteed for all people. This is obviously going to benefit the sperm givers and the sperm receivers in our scenario.
Team sperm.
And I think you will see a diminishment of the of how much the sperm provider is on the hook for, assuming that they're making more money, right? I mean, in that
more money. I'm talking about the right to choose. Period. Talking about no money.
Can I ask you, caller?
What's best for society? But what about the man's rights? You keep disregarding the man's rights.
Caller, can I ask you? Did you have personal experience with this?
Is that important to caring about it?
I think so.
Because really, that's because I think that's one of the big.
Okay. So now, I think he doesn't have personal experience from it, and he doesn't want to say he doesn't because then it feels like it's not. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. I feel like some people might read this like, "Ooh, this is sad," because it feels like he has personal experience. And ooh, that's pathetic or something, but that's not how I read it at all. I read it the exact opposite. I read it as it sounds like he doesn't have personal experience, and he feels like by him saying he doesn't, that makes it feel like he's been gatekept out of the conversation to some degree.
Problems with Republicans is that they only care about things when it happens to them personally.
But I don't think that answers my question.
Well, I think it does. But
no, the answer is no. It hasn't happened to me personally. I have had, a woman lie to me about a pregnancy. I almost failed out of college because of that. I've had multiple women threaten me with false accusations when I was trying to leave the relationship, and I have.
Dude, I honestly feel bad for him. Can I be for real? Maybe I'm just too much of a pansy, okay? Maybe I'm too much of a flower child, but I just feel bad for him now. Like, he wanted to come in here to look, okay. I don't think it's their fault, Sam Cedar, Emma, of course. But this guy probably went on here thinking, like, I'm going to red pill everybody on men being cool and people need to treat men better. And now he's like 5-6 minutes, when he's like 13 minutes into it, and he's like, yeah, when my ex left me, it's like, oh my God, I don't think he planned to say any of this. I don't think he wanted to talk about that. I mean, oof. It's like, maybe he's fine with talking about that. I can be sometimes comfortable with talking about my private life in that way. Depends on how you feel, depends on the situation, maybe, but man, first time in front of a live crowd and he's talking about his exes, man. Tough.
I had my issues. I mean, this feels like a liberal thing. This doesn't feel like right-wing rhetoric that I'm talking about. Equal reproductive rights for all the pronouns, and all right, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. Fatherless.
Is that how we say it now, by the way? Because I refuse. I don't know if I'm too conservative or something. I'm not going to refer to everybody as all the pronouns. Why does he keep saying for all the pronouns? Why doesn't he just say everybody or all people? There's other words he could use. He keeps saying all the pronouns. Did I miss this train? Was this something we're doing now? We all say all the pronouns instead of all the people or everybody? Like, there's simpler ways we've always say it. We need to add pronouns to everything. Hello, my pronouned individual. Is this how it works? Okay.
No. You believe that if we gave equal reproductive rights to all the pronouns, fatherlessness would go up? Because I think it would go down.
Well, I don't know. To be honest with you,
I don't know either, but I don't think I would be super confident in it going down if what we're doing is making it so men can just say bye and then they leave, right? I feel like they're like, I don't know why you would be so confident that that's going to bring the rate of fatherlessness down.
I mean,
unless you inherently believe that every single time a man says, "Nah, I'm leaving," the woman's going to make the decision, okay, abortion, which I don't think that's true. I think maybe some will, but I don't think all of them will.
Would it?
And not to mention, like, that also assumes that there is a percentage of women who are independently making the decision, like, I don't care what my significant other thinks. I am having this child. It's not up to them. They have no consideration. I will trap them. And I don't think that percentage of people necessarily, I don't think we can guarantee that that percentage of people is larger than the percentage of men that's going to be like, oh shit, I'm outie, and they just leave.
It impact it marginally. Like if I think, you know, I guess the way that it would work is you're suggesting is that if the sperm provider decided at one point, I guess there would have to be a certain, like, how much time would you give them under your proposal?
That's the thing. It doesn't matter. I guess there is.
It doesn't matter.
Point for women with reproductive rights too.
So I mean, we'd have to do it on a state-by-state basis now. But let's go back to, again, pre-Dobbs, when it was.
Dude, could you imagine this legislation in Texas? What it would be? Oh my God! Could you imagine Greg Abbott trying to design this? Oh, dude, I'm not excited for that. JD Vance trying to do it on the federal level. My God!
Right for women to choose whether to have a forced pregnancy or not. You would say that the sperm giver has to make their decision by, let's say, 20 weeks or 24 weeks, and to give the pregnant person time to end the pregnancy, right? Because that's what you're talking about. That's how you would end fatherlessness, right? Is that it would
give equal reproductive rights to all the pronouns.
If you gave equal rights to the sperm giver, let's just say sperm giver, okay?
All the pronouns. Name your pronoun. I grant the.
I don't care about that. I don't care about that. The pronoun's irrelevant here. It's the person who's providing the sperm, and that person, you'd want to give the woman or the pregnant person, I should say, time to react to the decision by that sperm giver, like, I'm not going to support this child whatsoever, so that the pregnant person has the chance to decide, all right, I'm going to end my pregnancy because I don't have the means to support this child when it arrives. Is that the theory?
Yeah, and I want to put a pin in has the chance. You were very concerned about women having the chance to make a decision. I just can't help but notice you at no point give a talk about the men's chance to make it.
Well, yes, no, that is the premise of this phone call, isn't it? Because you know that I don't
but you're
agree.
trying to justify taking away his chance altogether. That's the thing. You're trying to use time and all these other extenuating circumstances to justify taking away his right to choose altogether. And I'm saying they should have the same reproductive rights as women. And the time, I understand that there is a sort of cutoff point.
I think I fundamentally, I just think there's a question of bodily autonomy here that I don't think is being considered at all. Like, he's talking about the men's rights to choose, but then, like, why for him is a man's right to tell a woman, in his mind, a right to tell a woman when, if they can or can't get a pregnancy, like can or can't get an abortion. Why is that more important than that woman's personal bodily autonomy?
Well, the reproductive right that exists, listen, the reproductive right that existed for women in this country had a set time on it. That's not I didn't make that up. That is Roe v. Wade and Casey, right? I mean, so when you talk about rates, you want to be, I'm helping you out here. And you're the one who's getting caught up on the details. I'm not the one who dictated what the rights were.
I'm saying time limit is irrelevant. I'm saying.
Well, then you don't know what a right is or was in this country. But
no,
be that as
it is. I'm saying time limit is relevant to a woman's right to choose. I'm saying the fact that there is a time limit on a woman's right to choose does not give people the right to take away men's right to choose.
Okay, well,
altogether.
can you decide after the child is 1 year old?
Whether or not I want to pay for the child, like if you're saying if the child was hidden from me.
Yeah, no. Child's born. Like you say, there shouldn't be a time restriction on the sperm giver. What about when they're 1? What about when they're 10? Or what about when college shows up?
Well, here's the thing. You're saying that he was aware of the child before it was born? Then, yes, then he has to make that decision before born.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, like once you make the decision, I'm doing it.
Can I be honest? I do actually kind of agree that I think the time limit is irrelevant here. I think irrelevant to the conversation. I mean, like hammering out the specifics, I think is maybe useful. But I think that the main thing that everybody should be focusing on here, Sam included, should be, hey, let's focus on the fact that this person wants to take a woman's right to choose and make it both people's right to choose, meaning that a man could tell a woman when, if they can or can't get an abortion. That should be the main focus of the discussion. I don't think, okay, when should they tell them? I don't think this is particularly important to the conversation.
You are on the hook financially in all the ways that men are currently on the hook. However, if a woman is pregnant and hides that pregnancy from a man and then a year later says, hey, guess what? You have a son. He's a year old. No, I don't think he should be legally on the hook for that child, which is the current system.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I understand your point here. Yeah. I just think that it's insane, not terribly conducive to society. I think society has an interest in requiring, now if you are willing to take 51% custody of that child, I think you
want
become.
to finish that sentence requiring. You were starting a sentence that had requiring, and then you changed it because you realized how illiberal that was to say requiring.
No, listen.
Oh, you're illiberal, Sam.
Dude,
correct.
Society has a vested interest in requiring the parents of a child to support that child.
Father, not parents, one parent.
No.
Hey, General Mark, thank you so much for the tier 1 and being sub for 7 months. Only streamer I won't miss a month on. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. Now back to our liberal propaganda.
Parent is required.
How much custody in your scenario? In that scenario, the parent of the child birther contacts the unknowing sperm giver a year later and says, you have a responsibility to provide support for this child, correct? That's the scenario you gave me. Who has 51% custody of that child in that scenario?
Who has custody? Who has custody of that?
The majority custody in that scenario you're talking about.
100% custody, if the man has no idea the child exists, would be the woman.
Okay, but you're not on the hook, the man in your scenario, on the hook for the money until he becomes aware, because the child giver has made them aware and says, you got to give me money now. Who has 51% custody at that moment and going forward of that child?
51, I would say the majority custody is the woman, correct?
Okay, so the majority of the man in your scenario is obligated to give support. What if that man said, "I will take 51% of that custody"?
Then of course he should pay. And if he says,
no. I can tell you, I don't know child support laws in your state. But I can tell you in New York State, if I have 51% custody of, like legally, not necessarily in practice per se, but legally, 51% custody of that child, guess who gets the child support?
I'm guessing the one, like your argument is possession is 9/10 of the law. And
No, I'm not arguing possession is 9/10 of the law at all. I'm talking about in terms of who's obligated to pay support.
Oh, okay, so you're saying if a woman hides a child from a man and then a year later says, hey, here's your child, who is obligated?
And I'm the man, let's say, and I say, oh my God, I've always wanted a child. I'm going to take 51% of that
let's
custody.
say you've never wanted a child.
Okay.
No, let's not say that. Let's say you never wanted a child and you were very
Right,
clear
and then you both are responsible for taking care of that child. And unless you want 51% of the custody, your share of taking care of that child will involve financial support.
So how come you don't ever apply this to it? Like
It is applied to women. If she says, I don't want the child either, and gives up the child for adoption.
You keep saying 51% custody. I'm saying 0 custody. This man wants nothing to do with the child.
Well,
nothing to do with
dude,
the woman. The woman drinks herself to sleep every night, has a mountain of debt, is just a monster.
Sorry.
He doesn't want to be with her. Why should he go to debtor's prison for saying, I don't owe you money?
We don't say, we're not advocating
the reason why you go to debtor's prison is the same reason why
Yes, you are.
you go
Yes,
to prison.
you are.
It's the same reason why you go to prison. Don't get so mad because you heard a woman's voice. You got to calm down. Listen, the reason why you go to prison, excuse me, the reason why you go to prison, the reason why you go to prison, if you do not pay what the state mandates you pay, is the same reason why you go to prison if you don't pay your taxes. That's why.
Okay, so child support and okay, got it. Pro debtors prisons for children and taxes. Got it. I actually support going to jail.
I do think that if you're a tax cheat and like you refuse to pay taxes, like if a billionaire is trying to dodge taxes, right, and he's like unwilling to pay, then I do think there's like a line where you need to be like, okay, this person's going to prison. Like eventually, like if you've tried all your means, like what else can you do?
Jail for not paying your taxes. I also don't think
are you pro debtor's prison?
I mean, this is how law works, right? You have to enforce the law, right? And there has to be force behind the law, right? I'm not like an anarchist.
Pro debtor's prison? That's not very
liberal. At any point be able to say like, oh, I don't want to pay taxes. If you're living in America, you get a bunch of benefits from your taxes. I could be forced to pay for a child that I never get to see, I never knew existed.
Anarchists believe in laws. Let me have this. Let me just take like pot shots at anarchists. They can't fight back. They're not allowed. I've banned them from doing so.
And never wanted. Like you keep advocating for the rights of the women and the rights of the men. Never even enter the conversation. It's as if the only real human beings are women and everyone else here is.
Do you know why there's not so many single fathers? The reason why there's not so many single fathers and there's a lot more single mothers is because it's a lot harder to run away as a mom than it is as a dad. Because there's no denying that that's your kid when you're the mom, right? That thing came out of you. It's going to be very difficult for you to like run away, right? And so it, like for somebody who like cares so much about the issue of like fatherlessness in homes, it just is really weird that like one of his main policy prescriptions is something that would make it easier for men to run away from these relationships, from these situations. If a baby is born, it's very unlikely that the woman runs away. It can happen, but it's a very rare scenario for the reason I already described. It's very difficult for a mother to deny that it's theirs and run away when it's born out of you, right? The mother has to be there for the birth, whether they like it or not.
Sorry you don't feel seen. I'm sorry you don't feel seen.
The woman is taking care of the child in your scenario.
Okay, correct.
So
What's
they
your point?
are.
So
They have an obligation
extort
too.
the man for money?
They have an obligation too.
Who, the man? See, that's the thing. How come a woman who is pregnant doesn't have an obligation to keep the child?
There's certain biological situations that there is not exact parity here.
Chad, I never said that there's no such thing as a runaway mom. I know that from personal experience, but it's less like there's more likely to have a single mother than a single father. It's just for the reason that I've described, plus some others, but this is one of the main reasons.
Concede.
Oh, so you only support the right to choose in case of the health of the mother? Is that the only time? Because I support a woman's right to
Where'd you
choose.
get that?
If
No,
she
I
doesn't
didn't
love
say
a man.
that. No, I didn't say
If she
that.
doesn't love
So
a
the
man, I
burden,
support.
the burden
Are you hearing
on
voices?
the burden on the woman or the person who can get pregnant is greater when that person is pregnant than it is on the sperm giver.
Incorrect. She has the right to choose. She can remove
No,
that.
the reason why I give her the right, the reason why I'm in
That's
the
why.
opinion that she has the right to choose is because the burden is greater.
Yep, simple.
Do you know what childbirth is? The whole.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Hold on. Let me ask you this. Maybe it's easier to explain it this way, and then we're going to get off, okay? Because we've been 25 minutes.
We sure don't want to.
We are. It's very possible that we are headed to a complete ban on abortion. But let's just assume it's not. Let's just pick a state where there is a complete ban on abortion or very close to it. Okay? Who then is subject, who is more put upon in that scenario? Who suffers more in that scenario than equal? Is that right?
Equal, and you have sympathy issues for men and accountability issues for women if you say otherwise. Like Barney Frank, my favorite politician, once said,
you're telling me that someone who is forced to give birth has the same.
right to choose.
No. Wait, we're staying on my scenario where there is no right at all to have an abortion. Okay. And you're telling me that the burden imposed on someone forced to carry to term a pregnancy is the same as a burden to have someone else be forced to carry to term to pregnancy that child.
Is the man a coal miner? Does he install solar panels? Does he?
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Get the fuck out of here. Get out. I'm sorry. You can't. It's no longer serious. What does that have to do with anything? The woman could be a coal miner as well. What does that matter?
Has he lost an arm on the job?
Did she lose an arm? Is that how we're gonna weigh this? Really?
Like, let's say the man
That's completely unrelated to the pregnancy.
is on the job and he loses a fucking arm. Who is sacrificed more, Sam? Does he get the right to choose then?
How do we know that was due to the baby or the pregnancy?
If he's lost a
Like, is this due like 3 points removed? Like, he wouldn't have had the job if it wasn't for the pregnancy. Then he lost his arm. Therefore, because of the fact that a man could get injured on the job, they should be able to tell a woman if they can or can't have an abortion. Like, come on, the reaches here are silly.
fucking arm.
They should actually hang up on him now. This is silly.
Is that the only time he gets the right to choose?
I got to be totally honest with you. I have no idea what you're talking about. Just answer my question. I've kept you on the phone for half an hour, 26 minutes and 40 and 50
We're
seconds.
men.
27 minutes. And I'm asking you one simple question, and it seems like this question is not one you want to answer. I answered yours, which is like, yeah, it's not exactly fair. It's just in the best interest of society. It's the best solution we can come with. But I'm asking you a hypothetical now. And that hypothetical, which is not that far off, who has more of a burden in a society where you are not allowed to have an abortion? The person forced to be pregnant or the person who provided the sperm?
I would say it's equal, and here is why. Will you let me finish? Barney Frank once said, Republicans act as if life begins at conception and ends at birth. I would add feminists to that conversation. I would add man-haters like you. You keep acting like, oh, I'm a man. It doesn't mean I have sympathy issues. My God, there are black people who are racist. There are women who hate women. You're an anti-suffragette.
He's a self-hating man.
We're self-hating men.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, you're arguing
I'm like a metrosexual.
against equality for a moment's validation from a bunch of blue-haired man-hating cows. It's pathetic.
Wow, that honestly, like, as weird as the conversation kind of went, That came out of left field. That came out of left. Here we go. The filter has been removed. He took off the pop filter from his mic and he let it roll. He said cow and everything. Oh my goodness. He drew a picture.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
He had a picture in his mind and he made sure to use Sam Cedar as the canvas.
Yeah, you're
I'm
arguing
like a
against
metrosexual.
food equality for a moment's validation from a bunch of blue-haired man-hating cows. It's pathetic. When we
wait, a bunch of what?
Wait,
We're doing this for the validation from the blue-haired man-hating cows.
am
That's
I
why
a
we're doing
cow?
this.
Am I a
Emma,
cow
yeah.
caller?
No.
You know what? Before I speak any further, I just want to apologize because honestly, I got it. Like,
Yeah, I think you got a
do.
little bit
It's
too
all been
emotional.
ill-advised,
I think
yeah.
when you said,
You were hysterical.
I think
and all that stuff. But
I
you
think
know what?
when
Like,
you had to bring this conversation to me being a man hater and a self-hating man and the blue-haired cows.
Correct.
I think you
stand
sort of
behind that.
revealed maybe the
stand
some of the
behind that.
No, you
reasoning
don't.
behind that. No, I know you stand behind
Yeah,
that.
good for you, babe.
But here's the thing. We're just going to let that marinate in people's minds. You've had 30 minutes to make your case. In the
Stuck the
end,
landing.
you think that the burden on the person who is forced to have a pregnancy is the same as the burden on the person who gave the sperm to the person who's forced to have a pregnancy. And you know what? We're going to let the audience decide after 30 minutes.
You
because
decide.
you had the platform. Now they will decide. I do appreciate the call, though.
So, right, I want to express gratitude. Nothing controversial. I just want to say sorry that I was a little all over the place, and I'm thankful, for
Well,
it, even though I didn't get.
I appreciate I appreciate the call. I really do.
Live, laugh, love.
Vote Biden, read the Mueller report. Vote Biden, read the Mueller.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad he made it clear that all the pronouns have the same rights. Just to 30 minutes
Jesus
later
Christ
call
almighty.
women blue-haired cows.
Yeah, that gives rid of all the pronouns. I mean,
Hey, look, that right there, that's MLK for men right there, okay? All the men everywhere in my chat. If you're a man and you're thankful for this warrior for men, put a 1 in chat, okay? I want to see all my meninist heroes, all my warriors for cock in the chat. I appreciate it. See how many ones I can get. Yeah, look at all those ones. Look at all those ones. Yeah. 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 In solidarity against the women's. Okay. Oh, site chat has a lot more ones than gutter chat. Of course they do.